Hello there and welcome to a Photo Plus Lightroom tutorial. I'm Lauren Scott and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to control colour from your raw images, and by that I mean enhancing raw images for more impactful colours and tones. So I'm going to be starting with an image that looks a bit like this on the right, and hopefully we're going to get something that matches this on the left, something that's a bit more bold and vibrant. This was early morning when we shot and the lighting's a bit flat. So once you've loaded up your start image, head to the develop panel there, and then we want to go to the basic tab drop down there. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the white balance. So I want to click on this eyedropper tool, and then I want to choose a neutral point. So you can go for a white in the sky maybe, or go for a sort of grey, anything that you know can look quite neutral. So I'm going to click on that, and that's a little bit cool for me. It doesn't always work perfectly, but you can obviously fine tune it there afterwards. This is just a good starting point. So I'm going to make that a little bit warmer there, and I'm going to take the tint down there. Now you can also go to auto there, and Lightroom usually does a fairly good job of changing it for you. Again, that's too cool for me, so I'm just going to go back to how I had it before. Now the next thing we want to do is go to the camera calibration tab there, and depending on the camera that you use, you'll often find profiles down here and picture styles that you can change. So things like camera landscape profiles. Here, these aren't available, so I am going to change the blues in the sky. So I'm going to take the blue primary up there and the saturation levels, and you can just see how the image changes as you do this. Now, my primary function here is to make the blues in the sky more vibrant and dark, and also to make obviously the oranges stand out a little bit more as well. There we go, so just fiddle around and see how it looks. Again, you don't have to make lots of changes here if you don't want to, and you can always change things back, which is the beauty of working in Lightroom. So there we go, I fiddled around there. Next thing I want to do is I want to go to this HSL colour and black and white panel, and then I want to up the intensity and saturation of specific colours. So as I said, I wanted to boost the oranges here. Now you can drag that down or up, and then it will tweak them like you see, and I'm going to pop the saturation up there, and then obviously the luminance takes the darkness or the brightness up a bit. So I'm just going to make them slightly darker. It was an early morning landscape shot, so I want to reflect this there. I don't want to make it too bright. And I can go for the blues, and hopefully we'll target this sky area here. Again, you can drag this around to suit the sky that you've shot. Now I'm going to bring this down. It's not doing a lot at the moment, so I'm going to target this there. Hopefully, as you can see, we start to get a little bit more blue there, but not a lot. There we go, and as I drag this around, you'll see it targeting different areas of the image. I'm going to take the luminance down a little bit. As you can see, the clouds just start to change as I do that. There we go, so I'm going to keep it like that for now. There we go, and I'll also go for the aqua as well. So taking the saturation of that up there, and then taking the luminance down to make that a little bit darker. There we go. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go to the tone curve. And a tone curve panel will give you more precise control over the tones in your scene. And what you want to do really is look at the image's histogram to make sure you're not clipping any detail as you tweak the tonal range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a medium contrast at first, just to see how that changes the image. Now we still haven't clipped any information here, which is good. These colours are starting to look a little bit bright. There we go. Now I want to pull that down because I actually want to make the sky area a bit darker. There we go. And what you can also do is if you click on this little icon here, it will bring you down the highlights, lights, darks and shadows. So I'm going to take the highlights down a bit. And there we go. I'm going to take this to around -40. The lights and darks I'm also going to take down as well to around -25. Now this is just to suit this image, so obviously play around with yours until you like the result. Then I'm going to boost the shadows a little bit. There we go, take that up to around 30. There we go. Now the next thing I can do is I can go up to the top here, and I can click on an adjustment brush. Now this adjustment brush will make targeted adjustments to my image. So say I wanted to make these ridges a little bit lighter, what I can do is I can pop the exposure up a bit, and I'll make my brush a little bit smaller to fit in here, and then I can just click on that. Now the effect of that is quite subtle, so if I take that up again, you can see how it changes. There we go. Now it's obviously too bright, so I'm just going to draw down here a bit. There we go. And you can obviously feather it and change the density and the size. And then you can also add a new brush. So say if I wanted to make these ridges slightly darker, I could make the size of my brush smaller, and I can click over there and then bring the exposure and the clarity as well up. There we go. So just to bring out the edges of these ridges. Now that's all done. I finished there, so click on the adjustment brush there. The last thing you can do is just go for sort of basic overall adjustments to your image if you still want to. So I think you could still do with a bit more contrast. So I'm going to boost that up. I'm also going to take the vibrancy up a bit again. There we go. And I'm actually going to take the saturation down a little bit because it's looking a little bit fake at the moment. And I'm going to take the shadows up again. So just watch out for errors in your image and keep an eye on the histogram as you edit. There we go. I'm going to take the whites up just to boost the whole thing. I can take the exposure up a bit, and there you go. I'm fairly happy with that. It's worth bearing in mind that if you're printing your shots, you should calibrate your laptop or computer screen before you get going. This is because every monitor varies slightly in terms of colour saturation and brightness, and if you're printing, you really want to make sure that what you're seeing on the screen is going to match what you've printed. So give it a go and liven up your images in Lightroom.